Hello and welcome back to the Talking Wolf podcast. I'm your host Matt Cooper, returning after a stint out with a horrendous cold. If you're still listening to the podcast, you can still hear that I still a bit nasally. I'm nearly there, but I've woke up feeling worse today than I did on Friday, but nowhere near as bad as I woke up on Sunday after watching that shower of shit. I'm not on my own this week, of course. We've actually got a full house this week, and I think it's the first time that we've had all four of us together. Jordan, Russell, Joe Parker and Dave Azzopardi. Dave, we'll start with you, mate. How are you? How did you get on with your prostate cancer charity fundraiser and just in general? Double night ticked up today.
I know, yeah. Whenever I wear this, people say it's like a Turkish market special or something like that, you know what I mean? But no, it is genuine Nike. But no, I'm all right. Yeah, the prostate cancer walks, it was good. Towards the end, I was there like, oh. But like, I did some, I raised about 360 quid. I wanted a little bit more, but it's all right, to be fair. But yeah, that's over and done with. So I haven't been to the gym for ages, so I went this morning. And then I saw Mel Eves in Sainsbury's after, so I just had a little laugh to myself because one of my favourite away day stories includes Mel Eves. So just saw him and I didn't speak to him. I just had a smile to myself. And then typically, as I was coming back for the podcast, you can hear the bin men outside. I was stuck behind them for 5 minutes. So we're here anyway. We're here, but apart from the football, all good, mate. Thank you.
At least your bin men turn up though.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
From last week's visit. Mine have started collecting like the bins on different days. It's quite difficult to follow. There was
a and it wasn't just here, but around Wolverhampton there was like a phase at the start of the year where they just weren't collecting bins because there was like one rogue item. They're like, yeah, leave it.
Talking rubbish.
Yeah,
pretty apt actually. Jordan, Russell, how are you, son? You okay?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, how are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm just still a bit nasally. I'm not aching as much, but I know a lot of people have had this recently. It's been like a 2-week job, so yeah, I'm getting there. Been up to anything?
I had a DIY weekend this weekend, which is as boring as it sounds, to be fair. We've only got 2 weekends together, me and Emma, until Christmas due to like work and other commitments and stuff, and we're hosting. So. Oh yeah, no, I am. Yeah, you can tell from the fact. Yeah, I'm so gutted to not be with her. But no, we're hosting Christmas this year, so it's like all of a sudden the bathroom needs decorating and the kitchen needs decorating. It doesn't need decorating, but it obviously does because she says it does. So yeah, that's what I did this weekend. To be fair, and I've also started a challenge with my best mate, a weight loss challenge until 20th of December. So we've got 100 quid on it. So it's percentile of kilograms lost. So he's like ex-sportsman, so he's super competitive. And he sort of wrote me into it the weekend before. I don't want to lose weight because I just can't be arsed, but because it's him, I'm like, I've got to do it. So
what a challenge!
Yeah. I did confirm whether I could do Ozempic or not, and apparently I can't. So that's fucked me already. So basically, I'm on 2,000 calories a day and 15,000 steps, and the plan is in 7 weeks I should lose around 12 kilo. So that's the plan. If I stick to it or not, who knows? But we'll go with it.
Just don't. I always find don't kill yourself. Don't set yourself like unrealistic targets with it, and then it'll come off. If you say I'm going to do 20,000 steps a day, you do it for 5 days, and you fucked for like another 5.
Yeah. To be fair though, I walk the dog twice a day, so I do around 9,000-10,000 anyway, so it's just a few extra loops maybe, I don't know, but basically I didn't really want to, I wasn't arsed in it, but he's really lit a fire in my belly now, so yeah, in 7 weeks I'm going to look like Paula Radcliffe on here, I think.
So I get shitted in the road, Joe.
I was about to say that.
The dog will be picking up his shit, yeah.
Absolutely. Joseph Parker, Concept Scouting, how are you, mate?
Oh, I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm better than I was about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock Saturday. Not just because of the Wolves result, but I was with Dave, so it was. There was nothing positive to come out of Saturday evening.
No. Oh well, I walked into the Royal London and I could see you across the bar, but I couldn't get to the bar, so I thought, "This is Joe." I thought, I can't be arsed. Like, there's nothing I need to tell him. I'm going somewhere else.
Well, to be fair, me and I went into Spoons after the game, just have a quick one. Well, that was the aim, to have a quick one. And a certain Azzopardi jumped in, spent 15 minutes in the pub, spent 14 minutes of him trying to get a signal to upload a video.
I was there. I walked in. I was about 60% uploaded on the match review. Walked into Weatherspoons, and if anyone knows the Weatherspoons at Wolverhampton, the signal is diabolical. The cloud Wi-Fi they have is even worse. But like you got 4G or you got 4 bars of Wi-Fi, and the upload's just not moving. So I had to walk. I said to Joe, we had a chat, and I said, look, I've got to walk. So I had to walk 20 minutes back into like the city centre. Well, it's not that far, but about 10 minutes back into the city centre to find a half decent signal. As I was walking out, the bouncer starts recording me. Dave, give me a 60-second review of the Wolves game. I was like, fucking hell, I'm trying to upload the video here.
Is that the one who's like tattooed from head to toe?
No, it's the other one, Tim. But he's put it on his TikTok. It's just me look shitting like with my phone. You can see YouTube open on my phone. I was like, mate, I just want to upload the review, to be honest.
Just want to get a point.
Yeah. I went on Saturday for the first time in ages. It feels like I've been to a game. Purely because I thought it was winnable. Pretty fair weather at the minute, but I come away from it right, and this is when I know it's got bad. I'm not as negative as I used to be, but I'm certainly not like Dave, like happy clapper, glass half full, ever the optimist, always Wolves. But
shout out always Wolves.
Yeah, I thought I come away and thought it felt better, and I put that on Twitter and was like better. That was fucking shit, mate. That was fucking wank. And I was like, okay, maybe I haven't read the room, but I don't know, Dave. How did you feel there was an improvement? I
think in terms of like performance, there probably was, but I think it was the sort of the narrative going into that game was ultimately we had to win, especially with the other results sort of not particularly going our way. And I think going forward and stuff, we created good chances, as we have done most of the season, to be honest. But again, defensively, just daft stuff going on, and and you could tell after a while that just with the substitutes, I knew there was going to be something. If things didn't go our way for the full 90, it was going to be something aimed towards the board or the manager, and ultimately it was the substitution of Tommy Doyle really that pushed it over the edge. I felt a little bit uncomfortable when we cheered Sarabia going off, but ultimately, again, I think he had a dire game, to be honest. But look, there were elements of the performance that were okay, and they were good, and ultimately enough chances created that we should have won that game. But at the same time, there was just, I think we got away with one at the end, maybe, but I suppose, I know, Joe, you put some comments on it, so by the letter of the law, it probably should have been ruled out, that goal. But I think it just piles a lot of pressure on. And I'm hearing a lot of noise outside of the Wolves fan base, particularly people on Twitter or people that I work with saying, you should give him time, give him till Christmas. And I think unless you're actually in the Wolves space, you don't really realise how bad it is, to be honest. So I think this just piles the pressure on, and anything, other than a win next Saturday, and he has to be gone. He has to be gone.
He should have gone after the Brentford game.
I know.
I don't think we're still here having this conversation around us being dead and buried.
It does feel like we're delaying the inevitable, really. I feel like even if we win on Saturday, I feel like, you come back after the international break and you lose another game or two. It's just... So I think, he has to win on Saturday, ultimately, to have any chance. But I think the chance from the fans should have probably been enough for the board to say, all right, maybe we need to make a decision. But I think they're trying their best to side with him as much as they can. I think they've been more than fair to him, and he can have literally zero complaints if he loses his job if we don't get 3 points on Saturday.
But Hobbs and Shea have unfortunately got to swallow the pride. They've hung the hat on him. They've given him a massive deal, and it hasn't worked. So instead of trying to save face and trying to save money, do it now. Why you still got an outside chance of staying in the division? Say if they beat Southampton and then they lose the next 3-1-0, they get a new manager in. It's too late, Joe. It's too late. He should have gone after Brentford. And it's funny you mentioned that, Dave, before I come on to you, Joe, about other people, like media outlets saying, he needs to be given time. And the national news were calling for Russell Martin's head last week, and they've got more points than us. With a shit squad, so why is it any different? He's a media darling. That's why he's 100% a media. That Monday night football, he's dining out on, and he will until the day he takes his last breath. I
think a lot of media outlets, and I'm sure there'll be more to come in the next day or so, have sort of given an opinion piece, and the one today was Tom Colomossi from the Daily Mail, and I think it was as a neutral, it was sort of a fair-ish and balanced article. There was a couple of points in there. He said Lamina was superb, and then he pointed out a couple of the signings that Wolves have made, saying, well, Brighton and Brentford wouldn't make these signings, which I didn't really understand, because I could see either of them signing, the likes of maybe Bellegarde or Boubacar Traoré were the two that he mentioned. But I don't know. I think, again, in that article, he says, well, Gary O'Neill can't have any complaints, but he's almost siding with Gary O'Neill as well. I don't get how you can argue if we don't win on Saturday, 1 win in 21 in any division, whether you're a Sunday League manager, whether you're a Premier League manager, is ultimately not good enough. So, any other manager in the Premier League, 1 win in 10 would you got you the sack. So, he's very, very
even if you look back, Dave, to Bruno Lage, I think it was 1 in 9, and he was
yeah,
gone.
Exactly.
But I think it's one of them. I feel like, as a fan, I've got a fairly kind of long fuse with managers, because you get used to it, don't you? You get used to us being shit. So you usually give managers a little bit longer. Me and Matt had the conversation in a cab away from the Villa after that second half, that for me, that was the line in the sand, and my opinion hasn't changed since then, because not even, the last 2 games, there's arguments there that there's been a bit of fight in the players, which I think, when you've got a squad that's got the kind of ability in it that ours has, which undoubtedly, we're bringing players like Mario Lemina, Gonzalo Guedes off the bench, as a team that's bottom of the Premier League. There's no way on earth players like that. I know Sarabia got slagged off and Nori had a bit of a torrid time on Saturday, but these players are bottom of the top half, top of the bottom half Premier League players pretty much the whole way throughout that squad now. And for the fact that we've rolled on another 5 games, Saturday, the first half was dreadful. That was one of the worst individual halves of football I have seen, and that was only really improved on by about 15 minutes in the second half, where we looked really good after the subs. So fair play to him, he made the subs, but I still think we kind of did well in spite of those subs. Guedes did well setting Joe Gomez up, but if you look at the goal from Santi to Cunha into Strand Larsen, that's just a goal on the break that could have happened with fucking anybody on the pitch. So I don't know how much more we can say about O'Neill, and the fact that, and this won't make for a great podcast, but that the bloke has absolutely fucking lost it. When you read him listen to him in interviews after the game on Saturday, it's just, I think he came out last week or a couple of weeks ago saying he can't blame the recruitment now. That they did pretty much what they intended to do, and he came out Saturday night and said we didn't have a great window. So it's like, I just find him. I used the word disingenuous yesterday, and I find he's very much of that ilk. I think Matt raised the point a couple of months ago maybe, that he's very much about his own PR rather than he is about the club and the fans and the players as well. And I think what he's doing now, every decision he makes is with a view to damage limitation, to make sure when he leaves the Wolves, whether that's today, next week, 6 months' time, that he can get the best job possible for himself when he comes out of leaving Wolves, which I think the 4 of us can sit here now quite happily and say he's not going to be here by Christmas. So if that's going to be the case, why is he still here now?
That's what I don't get, Jord. They're just saving face. They must be just hoping and praying that he turns it around. I don't think that he's lost the dressing room, but he certainly lost the fan base. I don't necessarily think the substitutions were wrong, but I think Wolves fans are that frustrated. They need an event to voice their concerns of, we don't want you here anymore. The club need to make a change. That's how I read into it, Jord.
Yeah, maybe. I think, like you say, I think we all know the writing's on the wall. And for me, last season, they should have backed him in January. We had a real, November to January last year, we were excellent. We were one of the informed teams in the country. We didn't back him. Loads of injuries. We know what happened. I think since the Coventry game, that killed him. Absolutely killed him. And, he got the new deal in the summer. The reason why he's still here is Fosun don't want to shell £6 million to pay him off. That's the reason why he's here. And I've said a few times in this podcast, I want him to succeed, I want him to do well. I don't like managers losing the job. But his comments over the last few weeks, and after the weekend as well, some of the comments, I find him patronising, he's condescending. I think he's a bit of an arrogant twat, to be honest with you. he's come across, tries to belittle the fans, like, I know better, smirking when singing, we don't know what we're doing. I want rid of him now. And again, it's not all his fault. I think we know the ownership's called for some of this as well. But the tide ain't turning with him in charge. And I genuinely think if we beat Southampton on the weekend, I think that's possibly the worst outcome for us as a football club. And I don't want us to lose or not win football games, and I don't want to think I'm trying to advocate that, but we beat Southampton Saturday. It probably gives them another 4 games.
Yeah.
We're all saying the same, like, and there's that counter argument of if we beat Southampton on the weekend, you'll have fans, including myself, and probably all of us here going, it's only Southampton, we should be beating Southampton at home. Like, is that where we are? Is that sort of, is that the yardstick to say, oh, well done, Gary, give him a pat on his back? Like, there's so much wrong with this football club at the moment, and it does start from the top, but he's got to go. He ain't. I don't want to say he ain't got a clue, all this sort of stuff, but I just don't get what he's trying to do. Like the weekend, there's no patterns of play, there's no style. I don't really know what we're trying to achieve. I couldn't tell you what we were trying to do in that game, and again, like something that we haven't mentioned yet on this podcast. Yeah, we drew. It's a 2-2 draw with Palace. It's 2-2 draw with Palace without Adam Wharton and Eberechi Eze. Like,
and they were poor. They were really
shite.
poor.
Really, really bad. And we've given them too much respect. They could have been 4-0 up in the first half.
Yeah.
Genuinely could have been 4-0 up. And it's only a miracle that they weren't in the lead at half time, to be honest with you. And I think nothing's changing. You don't know his best 11. It's time now. Like, and the only reason he's still here is Fosun don't want to give him £6 million.
But it's gonna cost them a lot more when we go down, because I think if you're still in charge, it's a formality for me. Wolverhampton Wanderers will be playing Championship football next season. The thing that has changed really, I think if they would have got rid of him after Brentford, and I saw a tweet about this earlier and it resonated with me, it would have been, hasn't worked. Thanks Gary. Thanks for the awful ones win. Now it's fuck off out this club. You're a wanker.
Never come back.
He has in the space of like 3 or 4 games has completely turned. I find his demeanour arrogant, brash, condescending. The way that he conducts himself in press conferences, he's never been the best at that. In interviews, I did one with Mikey Burrows with Monday Night Football. He talks about my perfect footballing philosophy. One day I'll teach you about it. How about win a fucking game of football, Gary? How about that?
Clean sheet. That'd be a start.
How about maybe start with that? 1 win in 20 games. I genuinely think that if you put one of us in charge, with that squad, you might win 2. You might win 2.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so as well.
It is. It's a disgrace at the way that it's gone and the way it's been carried on going. His comments around, that's how I quoted, all of that dressing room has basically got not played many games in the Premier League, and we're trying to help them learn on the toughest stage. Someone had, and we obviously need to verify this, looked at how many Premier League appearances there are between 13 players in the squad, 1,244. It is utter bollocks.
The year we came up, I think only Ryan Bennett had played a handful of games in the Premier League. No one else under Nuno,
he's lost
that
his mind.
squad had ever played a game in the Premier League.
If you look at that, Matt, as an average across a starting 11, that's 100 Premier League games each. Now, if you look at Southampton as an example, this isn't a slagging off Southampton session because they will go down, but I guarantee they'll go down playing better football than we are. So you look through that squad that they've got fucking Ryan Manning playing left back. They've got players who are bona fide EFL players. That's where they've spent their careers and they've had good careers down there. But we've got an ex-Barcelona Champions League right back, right? We've just took Jorgen Strand Larsen, who's played, he might not have Premier League games, but the Premier League isn't the be-all and end-all. He's played games in Holland at the top level. He's played games in Spain at the top level. These players who, even if they hadn't played in the Premier League, which fucking most of them have, even if they hadn't, what does it mean? What does it stand for? Gary O'Neill was, he had a decent career as a midfielder playing a number of games in the Premier League, but he wasn't a superstar Premier League midfielder just because he'd played fucking season after season in the Premier League. He was bang average. So the argument that we haven't got the Premier League experience, even if that was legit, which it obviously isn't. I saw those numbers yesterday. It was laughable. Even Ait Nori, he's 23, 24. He's got a shitload of Premier League games under his belt. He's played it 3-4 seasons in the Premier League, and he's probably one of the less experienced players in the team. You got Pablo Sarabia in the starting 11, who's played World Cups, who's played European Championships. You've got Cunha, who's a Brazil international. It's just ridiculous. It's moronic.
I just don't know how he's still in the job, Dave. I really don't. Do you think it is just the fact that they're trying to support him as much as they can, or they don't want to sack him? The problem is you might have another 2 or 3 teams who part ways with the manager. They take the desirable candidates, and you end up with manager of the year contender Rob Edwards.
I think there's going to be an element of everything. Of course, they don't want to. I'm not going to say rush because that's a daft word, but like Jord said, there is going to be the financial element of things. I think they're probably earmarked, the last week or so as from now on as the sort of more quote unquote winnable fixtures, you could say. But ultimately, if you get into the end of next week and Wolves haven't, I don't know. I think anything less than the winning has got to go next week. I can still see Fosun backing him, even if he gets a point, as mad as it sounds. I can still see him backing him, but I think 99.9% of the fan base will think he has to go if there's anything other than a win next week, to be honest. Because that will leave us more in the shit. Southampton gain gain a point or a couple of points on us if they beat us as well. I don't know. I think you need to make it, like I said earlier, I think you're just delaying the inevitable at the moment. You need to act quickly. And again, if you get into, they leave it till the international break, you leave it another couple of games, all of a sudden you're 7 or 10 points adrift. Managers that we've discussed, Moyes, at a stretch, Potter, they're going to look at that and think, Wolves is quite nice, but 7 to 10 points, fuck that. I ain't going to risk my reputation to do that. So Wolves really, if they want to, employ a top manager, they've got to act soonish, to be honest. And it'll be interesting to see what happens. I never want to go into a football match to lose it, never ever. I'd love nothing more for us to win on Saturday against Southampton, but ultimately, just like I said, it just feels like we're delaying what's bound to happen sooner rather than later.
I think even if we win the Southampton game, though, it's just nothing changes, because then you could go into the next 2 or 3 and lose, and then you, like you said, further down the line.
If we draw,
still the only club not to win a game. We've conceded 27 goals in 10 games.
Yeah. If we draw, I wonder if there's ever been a manager sacked due to poor results, but unbeaten in 3. Because unbeaten in 2 games, put that in the trophy cabinet.
About people on the outside saying give him time. I have those conversations on a daily basis.
One's an Albion fan, to be fair, so probably I'd ignore it.
I say, well, we've won 1 game in 20,
yep.
We've conceded 27 in 10, and they all go, fuck me, I didn't realise it was that bad. How's he still got a job?
Yeah.
Do you know what, though, Matt? A key part of that is, because the defensive record is so bad, we've scored 14 goals this season, same as Forest. Forest are 3rd.
Yeah.
So to demonstrate that, if you look at the Chelsea games and the Brentford games alone, there's 11 goals across those 2 games. Our home record is exactly the same as our away record in terms of goals scored, goals conceded, right? Pretty much. I think there's 1 goal in it. So there's no improvement at home. And when it comes down to a manager trying to keep his job, 9 times out of 10, and Lopetegui did this very well the season he came in, that second half of the season, he won pretty much every single game at home and didn't concede a goal pretty much across 8-9 games in a row. The home fans particularly, I know the away fans do hold some weight, but if you go and you get beat away by the likes of Brentford, or even if we'd have lost the Forest game, you can kind of live with it if you win in your home games, or at least you're not shipping goals. But the problem is, we conceded twice on Saturday. Arguably, whilst I made the point that the rules say that 3rd goal should have been disallowed, and it was. There's no way on this earth that should be disallowed in a game of football. That should be a goal. The rules go against that. I
agree.
But you had that one where I think Mateta hit it off Chalabar's backside in front of the South Bank.
Yeah,
that absolutely massive chance. They had Sarah had that chance just before we made the subs.
Will Hughes in the first half as well. He had it blocked in by Dawson.
Yeah,
It's over the bar. Yeah.
The problem for me is even with the goals, like I think Strand Larsen's unlucky when he's flicked it on because he's winning the header, and you'd expect someone to follow up and have. I think it was Chalobah at that post.
Yeah.
You'd expect someone to be picking that ball up in the same way you'd expect someone to be picking Gay up at the back post for the second goal. But
I think he's at fault for that, Strand Larsen, because where I was sitting, I could see Sar shouting, coming to claim for it, and Strand Larsen saying, "I can't hear you."
In fairness to him, he did come out and say it was his fault. But I think it's one of them. If I'm a striker and I'm fucking defending my 6-yard box, I'd want someone else in there doing something. Do
you trust Sar to come and claim it though? If he's Strand Larsen,
this is what I've said many times about Jose Sar. Because he's got a rick in him, they don't trust him to come and claim it. Like Jose Sar can see the whole box when that ball's coming in. If he's coming and shouting for it, and Strand Larsen's in the way, which he inevitably was, he should just come and clatter him. As a goalie, you see the ball, just clatter everything in front of you, get the ball, and that's what he needs to do. But yeah, again, like if he shouted for it, I understand. Strand Larsen did front up to it, but I still think Sar could do more on that. Like, just come and take the lot out. That's what I think
across the board,
Martinez would do that. Emi Martinez would do that. Not to, he does. Like, that's what his strengths are. He would just come and take the whole thing out there.
Across the board, though, I've watched both of them back just to try and see. So obviously, they fucked the set piece coach off. So I thought, maybe they're doing something differently. But when it comes to picking men up on set pieces, and even just on crosses, it doesn't look to me. Santi and Dawson are both good box defenders in the same way Kilman was before. The Man City game was a good demonstration of the fact that they can lump balls in the box for most of the game. We're going to win 9 balls out of 10. It's just that 10th ball that we need to win. So they must be being coached in a way that suggests they need to be doing something different to what we think, as in that hybrid marking system that we had at the start of the season that was absolutely fucking shocking. It's still there. You've got Chalobah, Mateta, and Mark Gay, 3 of the fucking biggest blokes in the league, all unmarked at various set pieces. Which someone like, if you use Dawson as an example, he was on Mateta for a lot of the set pieces. He's not marking him intentionally. He's not intending to leave him open. So there must be something there. Because even when you look at set pieces or open play, we just look like we're all over the shop, but it looks like it's systematic rather than let me man go again for the 27th time this season. Yeah. It looks to me like it's planned in a way that we're trying to pick up the second ball, or we're just marking space. I do not know what the fuck we're doing defensively. Yeah. I do not know.
It is systematic because, like I say, it's not an anomaly. It happens every game, and the scary thing for me, again, going into that first half, and again, very low quality, but the amount of times like Kamada or Will Hughes just seems to have space on the edge of our box, and you're thinking you got Gomez and Doyle there that should be protecting that. Why does that? We don't run through teams like they run through us. I mean, Cunha gets himself into pockets of space, and again, I think that's the only way we look dangerous. Our only way we're scoring goals is if Cunha can pick up a half space in between the defenders and the midfield and just drives at them. That's when we're dangerous. I don't see us creating goals anywhere. I
think we created a decent amount of chances on Saturday. Unfortunately, 2 of the best chances fell to Sarabia. The first one was a bit more tricky. I think Dean Henderson's done well. Second one, sod's law, if Sarabia puts it away, gets pulled back for a handball because it was like a sort of a shout about 20 seconds before. But I think in terms of chances, we did create some half decent opportunities, and you mentioned earlier, Joe, about Bueno as well. I think in terms of his a lot of the attacks are starting from him. I think his distribution from the back is really, really decent. So I don't think in terms of chance creation, and like you said earlier, the amount of goals we're scoring isn't so much of an issue. But in terms of set pieces, I wouldn't mind it as such if we scored a couple of set pieces of our own. But in terms of scoring direct off a corner, so rare for us to, I don't know if I think we maybe scored off one, not quite directly against Chelsea, but I could probably only pick up a handful like from the last couple of years. Just ultimately, it's been a really poor element of our game, I think. And they obviously do train it, they obviously practice it, but just feels like we just zero threat from that, which is a frustration, really.
Yeah, I agreed over you, Jord. I think it was Jord who said it. That we only ever look threatening is when Cunha's playing hero ball, and I don't blame him because he must think no one else is going to do it. And I tweeted after the Forest game, the draw at the City ground. If we lose Cunha, we are finished. And I know that's like saying if Barcelona lost Messi, they'd be finished because he's that important to how we do things. But yeah, perhaps we're scoring more goals purely because we're just kind of relinquishing any kind of defensive structure and responsibility. But as you said, you don't do that at home. Like Lopetegui did, for as much as he's been poor this season. You knew at home, it didn't matter who you played, you come into a game having an half-decent chance of picking up a scrappy 1-0, which is what you need when you're fighting for your life.
Yeah. I agree. And you would have thought, especially after the Brentford game, you'd be like, right, they're going to shore up defensively, shithouse it, or just at least 0-0 draw or get a clean sheet. Against Brighton, both goals should have been defended, or we defended better, or just came off a daft mistake, i.e. Sar's kick. And then Saturday, 2 goals direct off set pieces as well. If you're sacking your set piece coach, you've got to do everything in your power to make sure you don't fuck up from set pieces again. And ultimately, they've done it twice in one game again, in the space of 20 minutes, half an hour.
And he said he'd put himself back on them, didn't he? He said, I'll put myself back on set pieces.
Yeah.
But that set piece coach thing, like that was just a save face. That was. I'm telling you now. Like
it was a change to say we're doing something about it.
Yeah, and you just brought him in, and again, don't get me wrong, there was errors from set pieces and stuff, but it don't change. So it's not the set piece coach. It's like I say, it's fundamentally how we approach it as a football club, not how the set piece coach was doing it. And other teams have got set piece coaches, and it works well. So what are you telling me that we've hired the fucking worst set piece coach in the history of Premier League? Like, no, it just there's just no accountability.
We're just talking about defending set pieces pretty much. Like Dave says, you wouldn't mind if we look remotely threatening from any set piece that we have offensively. But I remember, the last 5 or 6 years we've had some great players, but not one fucking person has been able to take a corner for us for like 6, 7, 8 years.
Even Matinho.
But so I don't know what it is. We were shocked sitting in the South Bank that we saw 2 goals in front of us. I can't remember the last time we saw 2 decent goals in front of us. But that's the thing. You're having to create goals like that. They're both great goals in their own way. Offensively, the structures that we're putting together moving forward, which to me look more instinctive. The centre halves lumped it up to Cunha. Cunha's done really well, and he's played it in. Great finish from Strand Larsen. Stuff like that, which is instinctive. We're on the counter attack. You haven't got much time to think. We do look good. We look really good, and we have done since the start of the season. We're scoring a lot of goals, but it's not going to get any better defensively. We'll score 50 goals this season plus, quite easily, I would say, because there's a lot of goals in the team. But we'll concede. I think how many we conceded? 27 in 10.
Yeah.
So we're on for 100 plus goals conceded. The way we're going, it's pathetic, really.
It's like a pub team. It's like a pub team's goal difference.
Yeah.
It would be.
Respect the dog.
Like losing 6-2 and 4-3, like 4-1s and all that. That's what's going to happen all season.
I've seen a lot of people. One point worth raising. A lot of people saying if Sarabia puts them chances away, we beat them 4-2, 5-2, but they missed 3 or 4 sitters themselves. Yeah. So that argument doesn't really wash, does it?
On the flip side, and I know it's been pretty negative. It's crazy that we can come out of that game and look, we gained a point, okay, but there were still some very decent performances in that as well. Like I thought, João Gomez, he got kicked the shit out of at times, but I thought he had came out of that with a really decent performance. Cunha again, played well. Bueno is showing, deserving his chance and showing that he deserves to stay in that team whenever, players come back to fitness as well. I thought Doyle, again, had a tidy performance, but then, I know he got booed when he got subbed off, but I know Lemina sort of added a little bit more bite to the midfield.
Lemina did well, I thought, when he come on.
He had to, I think, as well, though, because if Doyle came off, And Doyle didn't, Doyle had, like I said, had a safe performance, didn't really make many mistakes, but in terms of actually trying to start attacks and stuff, it didn't quite work for him. But Lamine had to work. But then on the flip side, I thought like Aït-Nouri, in terms of his ability on the ball again, he showed his quality on the ball, but decision making, there was at least twice where he's got to play the killer ball and he just doesn't pass to anyone at all.
Every time.
Yeah, but and that's frustrating. You can come out of the game and say 3-4 players, played well. Gedge came on, he got his head down and worked. I still think he lacks so much confidence, and it's like he's playing in some nightmare.
Sure.
The way he was slipping about, like he was like playing AstroTurf trainers. But like, and he could tell like his confidence is there's so little of it. Yeah. But again, got his head up, found João Gomes, and that was a nice finish, and he deserved that goal. But there's so much quality in that football team, so much quality, and it seems like it's being held back still in terms of tactical instructions and the guys in the dugout at the moment. It feels.
But this is all happening as well with a Brazilian international that Gary O'Neill spent 20 million quid for in the summer.
Don't even get a sniff.
Don't get a sniff. Like, you can't tell me that Andre, like, this
he's in the squad again for 2 weeks. The manager's probably going to think, fuck that, I ain't even going to play him.
How is he not the first name on the team sheet? For me, and again, I know I said it last week, like, you pick 2 from 4, you play 4-2-3-1, very, very fluidly, whatever. Like, I don't get how you just don't go Andre and João Gomes on my 2. That's what I would do. I'm not saying I'm writing on the Oracle. I'm not going to pretend to be Gary O'Neill here. But there's obviously opinions out there. But in my opinion, you've got 2 Brazilian international midfielders, or 2 capped international Brazilian international midfielders. Stick them next to each other. They played with each other in Brazil. Like, that'd give you a solid base. I think
with O'Neill, I don't want to defend him, but I can see why he's played Doyle because of the impact that he had last week.
Yeah.
But and we've all been shouting that we can't be having three central midfielders.
No,
but
we can't. No.
At the same time, you've got 2 games in a row against decent-ish teams, and Andre's got no minutes whatsoever. So I would imagine the plan would be to get ahead, and then on the hour, 20 minutes left, to get Andre on. But because none of his other fucking plans work, he's not in a position to get us a goal or 2 ahead and sit back on something because we're just constantly chasing games all of the time.
I get what you're saying about, there's signs of encouragement from like individual performances, but I don't give a fuck. We projected less than 12 points for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
I couldn't care less who plays. We need points.
But imagine that. Imagine if you're Andre or Carlos Forbes or Rodrigo Gomez and you're thinking, I can't get in this fucking team because of how many goals we're shipping. We've got loads of options going forward and absolutely nothing, definitely centrally at the back. I think Pedro Lima's injured now as well. So we're down to, one left back, excluding Totti, and 1 right back if we exclude Doherty.
Well, you are, because Totti will cover left back, won't he? So then you haven't got any cover apart from Alfie Pond, who's not obviously up to standard. Whether he will be in the future or not, you don't know. But they said that this was the plan all along, which again I find very hard to believe when they're clamouring around for a centre half on the final day.
Well, to talk about Bueno as well, they've openly come out, and which is fucking ridiculous that they've done this. They've come out, I think both Hobbs and O'Neill have said that we were happy to loan Bueno out. And I think Dawson's been decent, but Bueno's been our best centre-half since he come back into the team.
I've not rated him until the last 2 games. I thought I'd be poor, but the last 2 games he has played well.
No, I like him. I think that game we played, I think it was Ipswich last season, the Cup, he struggled. And I think a lot of people, probably you included, probably got a bit... He's like Bambi on ice all the time. Which, to be honest with you, he has got a strange
he's like
style.
He runs like Cody, like glued to the shuffles across the floor.
Not at all.
Yeah, it's like doesn't lift his legs up when he runs.
I think his distribution's good, very good. Like he's
he's
eyes for a pass. The last 3 games I could pick out 2 or 3 times, including the City game.
What shit from Chalobah?
You got to clear him out, if you're going to go for that ball.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I said that. I said I put it in a group chat with these lads. One of them is a Chelsea fan, and they were raving about him in the summer. And look, I would have probably taken him in the summer, but I was just never that convinced. I put it on Twitter. I was never that convinced. And look, it's 1 game. I'm not going to sit here and say I've watched every minute of his time at Palace, but I said I wasn't that convinced, especially with the money Wolves would have had to have spent on him. But yeah, when I saw that, I was like, oh, fucking hell. And I put it in our chat. I said, Tossing played a solid 1 out of 10. Not Tossing. I was going to bring him up though. Chalobah played a solid 1 out of 10. And someone put, he scored though. I was like, all right, then 2 out of 10. But he was gash. There was 2 or 3 times he got the ball. He booted it straight out of play. And it was a pass meant for somebody.
I thought all of their back three in a funny way were fucking bang average.
It reminds me of Tossing when he played for Fulham against us last year. He was awful, and then people clamouring for him in the summer. I was like, I must have missed something because he ain't that good.
You've got to be careful about signing someone who's called Trevor. Just for like a general rule of thumb. At his age as well.
Is he related to Nathaniel? Yeah, they brothers or cousins or.
Yeah,
the brothers.
Yeah.
Just asking. What there wasn't any points.
But even that, if you look at the comparison of like how Semedo and how Nori got on going forward, particularly, they're playing against Munoz and Tyrick Mitchell, right? So they're not playing against fucking Cafu and Roberto Carlos. They're playing against Munoz, who's a good attacking right wing back.
I like Mitchell as well. I thought he had a
both
good
okay.
game.
Yeah.
No, but Matt, you've got to be looking to do something when you've got wingers on the pitch as well. Cunha was playing as a winger, Sarabia was playing wide. You've got to be looking to do something. But they've obviously said, which again, this is another tactical thing that O'Neill's done that doesn't make sense. It looked to me as if they've thought they've got Land of the Giants at centre back, 3 of them. We don't want to put any crosses into the box, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
So why the fuck do you play players that wide? What do you expect them to do when Sarabia's kind of get into a byline? He's got to check back and play it back inside. It just looked to me structurally like that they understood that we weren't going to win anything in the air with 1 centre forward and 3 fucking centre backs. In which case, play a more narrow style. You've got wing backs and wingers on the pitch technically, but Cunha and Sarabia, it looked to me again. Sarabia got in some good positions, wasted a lot of them, but they look to be doing. It's hard to understand what they're really being told to do because they're creating chances. But again, I'm not sure if that's intentional or if that's just because they're such good players technically, they will always create chances. And Strand Larson really helps with that. That's something that we didn't have last season.
The frustration with Sarabia is that I think he has so many strengths to his game, i.e., I think he can, his vision and his awareness. Like to pick the 2 spaces that he did, it isn't the easiest job in the world. He had so much time and space for the second one. Like I said, I think someone said on the fans react, he could have made a cup of coffee and come back, and he still would have had time to put the ball in the back of the net. But it's frustrating because I thought after the Brighton game, in terms of the chances and what he brought to the team, I felt he deserved to start on Saturday. But I was very quick to hold my hands up and thought, that was awful. In terms of his speed and urgency on the ball at times, it was so slow and frustrating. And I don't know, I've probably said this about players over the last couple of years, but it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't play again for Wolves or at least doesn't start a game because I think in January they'll probably be looking for suitors to get him off because unless a new manager comes in within the next few weeks and really takes him and finds a role that works for him, I just don't think it's worked for him. He's not a crap footballer, don't get me wrong, but just hasn't worked for him at Wolves, unfortunately.
But can I play devil's advocate a little bit here? I think
Go on.
You can flip it a little bit and say, I know there's Twitter, I'll get that people are just basically saying he should never start again, he was shit and whatever. Like, he created more and was in goal scoring opportunities and positions to score goals than other people have been this season for us, for one. And I think it's on the manager and stuff. Like, you basically left him out in the cold for 3 months. Like, I know he come on against Brighton the week before and played a cameo. Like, he's not going to be match sharp, and everything's going to be a bit quicker. He's going to panic a little bit. Like, if he'd been playing a couple games, he'd probably relax in both those chances and put them both away. Like, you can't tell me Pablo Sarabia is not good enough to start for 20th placed Wolverhampton Wanderers right now. It's rubbish. Like,
it's not really his game either, though, is it? Like that getting on the end of balls, but behind a back.
He's not the one that creates those chances, isn't he?
Yeah,
of course.
Exactly. And that's where he would. I haven't got this in front of me, but Sporting and PSG when he's been playing, he would have been playing either as a 10 or left off a 3 behind a number 9. Generally, that was when he was in his heyday. That's what everyone was playing, wasn't it? And he would have always been dead ball guy. Pick the ball up in a pocket, thread the needle. That's what
saying that Sporting
he
scored a ridiculous amount of goals at Sporting for someone of that position. So I think I would have
He
I would
scored
have
off
backed
the
him
right
to
You
at
would
least
score a load
bury
of
what-
goals for fucking Sporting.
No,
man.
no. Yockera screamed 7 goals a season
quite
at
a lot
United.
though, and he'd burst past players. And I mean, I can't imagine that the players in the Premier League are like infinitely times faster than players in the Portuguese league. But
No.
I don't know. Where's
Reminds me,
that?
what's that game mode on Ultimate Team where you could get 4 times speed? Or was it like Mystery Ball or something like that? It's just there, like, all of a sudden he's
sliders
like,
up.
yeah. It's just like, but like I was seeing him, he's picking up the ball and he's like turning like an Eddie Stobar. I was like, mate, you're not that big. Like, you know, it's like we had Christoph Berra playing right wing. It was crazy.
He's not. He's not cut out for that like role where you need to be agile and you need to be able to turn and receive the ball in like tight spaces and then protect the ball. He's almost like he receives a ball and he's like, because he knows a player's going to come behind him. And he hasn't got the body shape or the strength to hold players off. So he's like you said, he just turn like that to protect the ball.
I was watching the piece that Gully did last week on Sarabia, and I think he made a point that he's not a 10. He can't operate centrally. Whereas for me, I'd kind of think if you're going to get him on the ball, you want him to be central because, especially on Saturday, you do not want him wide when, as we say, they've got 3 good defenders. We had no options for getting the ball into the box anyway because there's no other fucker around Strand Larsen to be on the end of anything. For me, when he picked the ball up against Brighton, he was kind of in that central half of the pitch where he can turn on it and he can put the ball in behind. But I think something didn't look right to me Saturday, and I think because he is quite an emotional player, you can tell that with his body language. I think maybe part of him just thought, you know, I don't get that kind of passion from him, maybe that you get from Cunha or Joe Gomez, or you know, he gets slagged off for it a lot. So does Guedes for their kind of attitude. But
he's a big tit, isn't he?
It wouldn't have surprised me if we saw a Jermaine Pennant flick of the V's to the South Bank after he got cheered off. To be fair, you know. But
I don't
he is
think
that
they're
type of
cheering
player.
him though. I just think it's a frustration that they want an event where they can give Gary O'Neill a round of fucks.
To be honest, it wasn't how I read it. About everyone saying on Twitter that it was because Tommy Doyle was coming off. To me, it was a break-in play where Gary O'Neill's making a decision immediately after we've conceded a goal. It's a perfect opportunity to demonstrate what your feelings are. We could have been taking Strand Larsen off for fucking a centre back, or vice versa. You know, we could have been doing anything, and he got booed because it was a demonstration towards him, not necessarily towards Doyle. Or
yeah, I think it was probably aimed towards that though, because like I said earlier, Doyle just had a very straightforward, solid game, very tidy, and I think it was just I think everyone's sort of seen that Lemina has been under par for parts of this season. So when you're bringing off a kid that, especially last week, showed what he's capable of, and then you're bringing on someone that hasn't been particularly great, I think that's probably what it was. But
it looked so reactive, though, didn't it? Don't you think?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Massively, yeah.
I think Guedes was lined up to come on anyway. He'd got his gear off, and then the goal went in, and they've all panicked on the bench, and suddenly the other two have arrived out of nowhere, and it's like, fucking hell. Like you get, like Matt said, he goes on about his footballing philosophy. Is that his philosophy? Concede a goal and just panic and bring the first 2 blokes you can find on.
The 2 points that I wanted to bring up quickly, and I don't know if I know you mentioned earlier, when we sang "You Don't Know What You're Doing," was Gary O'Neill. Obviously, I didn't watch it on TV, so I don't know. And of a match of the day, like to put audio clips over. Yeah, was he actually smiling / laughing when that was being sung?
He might have been.
He did smirk though. No, I watched it at home. The camera did pan to him and he smirked. But it's you can sort of put 2 and 2 together and make fucking whatever you want to do here. Like he was smirking, yeah. Was he smirking because of singing "You Don't Know What You're Doing"?
It's very hard to tell. Yeah. No, it's very hard.
Do I think he was smirking at it? Yeah, I do. I think he's got the arrogance and the self-confidence to think, yeah, fuck this.
Sometimes you do that. I do that at work sometimes. If I fuck something up, I just smile to myself and think, fuck's sake. Like, what the fuck can I do now? Like, what are you going to do?
You ain't got 29,000 people. So
exactly, yeah. But the same
you've never been to setting off fireplace, have you, Jordan?
I would say I don't get 40 grand a week, but, who knows? No, I'm joking. Also, the Jose Sarr one, did you see that? I think that was clutching at straws massively.
Yeah,
so after doing 2-1 up, people reckon he said fuck off to the North Bank, which I think is...
I don't blame him. There's probably only 2,000 of them left.
Matt had gone by then.
It's all Matt, yeah.
No, I actually went on. I
why
went on
cue to leave.
92. I stayed until I thought, yeah, that's enough for me.
I think that one with O'Neill, though, without wanting to labour it, 'cause I'm really not a fan of him as a bloke or as a manager, but in a way, what else do you do? Like, I think emotionally, you kind of either stand there and just look completely dead, which, to be fair, Nuno used to get slagged off for. I remember when we were getting dicked by the Albion at home and he just stood there. He got slagged off for that. And then obviously took Cody off and he got slagged off for that. So you can't really win, can you? I think regardless of what he's done or what he hasn't done, it's his demeanour that he puts across in when he's speaking is what is a big part of the problem, and I think fans can see that.
I just think it's, and again, you can never be sure, and if you ask him the question, he wouldn't be honest. It's almost like I'm better than you lot.
Yeah.
Telling me I don't know what you're doing.
A bit of cockiness too. It would have been brilliant if he did the O'Hara, just applauded the South Bank after they started chanting it. That would have been brilliant.
And he can't say that the fans haven't been with him, because they've been with him for every step of the way, apart from a small piece at Brentford, and it's all been justly criticised.
I think he's very.
He had an opportunity to nip it in the bud. Go on, Dave.
I was going to say, I think he's starting to very quickly realise that, because some of the comments that he made on in the post-match interviews and press conference, I think he started to realise that shit, that they're against me now, because he made little comments, not digs as such, but sort of made comments that, like before, probably about 4 or 5 weeks ago, he was raving about how good all the fans have been to him, even after the international break. He says, every fan I've seen, they've been so complimentary, they'll stick with us and this. Whereas now, I think he's starting to realise that that's probably not the case.
Yeah, I won't piss on him if he's on fire at the minute.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of people that like, especially if you look at Twitter, which isn't always the be all and end all, but there's so many angry people. But it's, for me, he's become like the whipping boy for it. But we all know it's not just him. It's the way the clubs run. I think Hobbs can't escape scot-free. Jeff Sheed definitely can't. If anyone, I think the vitriol should be aimed at him rather than O'Neill. But what's going to change? Jeff Sheed isn't going to say, you know what, lads, I'll get someone else in. The only thing you can change right now is the manager. Yeah.
They put a lot of pressure on him before we even kicked the ball with the prices, really, as well. And the price has gone up, and and I don't think that's been brought up enough in recent times, to be completely honest. There've been a few comments on Twitter about it, but I think it'll soon come saying, fucking hell, we're paying like 700, 800, 900 quid for this. It's absolute garbage. So
it'll come to a point. Say if we continue to struggle post Christmas or around like fixtures in and around January where it's colder nights and whatever. Will be less than 25,000 at that stadium.
It drops to 29k Saturday, 29k, and it's been. Well, again, over, I don't think I've ever seen that under 30
on the TV. Yeah. So, I don't actually believe some of these numbers they're putting out as well.
Season ticket holders count as one straight away, so people season ticket holders don't turn up. It still counts as a thingy, I think.
Yeah,
Palace only took to 1800.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we move on to some questions before we close the pod? So I know we just moaned for 50 minutes, but I think it's more than warranted. Sarah's asked a great question actually, and it's something that even I thought was wank. Was the pre-match light show really as shit as reported? Jeff cutting costs every department. How bad was that?
Horrendous,
mate. The best bit of that, I got it on video actually.
The end.
No, yeah, Wolfie. So they've obviously got some trained dancer now to be Wolfie, because he was busting all sorts of shapes, but it was gash compared to the old stuff. I don't know. You want to come away from Kanye West for whatever political reasons or whatever, but that was fucking diabolical. That was.
But absolutely, they've obviously they've gone onto Spotify and searched for fucking songs with lights in their lyrics. We don't want to pay Kanye or Sony any money to play it, so we're going to play the fucking shittiest song we could find. It
wasn't quick enough, that song.
It wasn't choreographed either. I reckon there's someone in the back with a switch going.
The stroke.
He's gonna blow a fuse in a minute if he's not careful.
They need to bring the fireworks back, don't they, as well?
Straight into that fan in the Steve Ball.
Oh, that was awful.
Happened twice, did it?
Aimed at the dugout, 85th minute. Not jest.
Oh dear. A Mars Music Show's asked a question, and I actually disagree with him here. What do you think of Anthony Taylor's performance? We slate refs when they're poor, including me, but don't praise them enough when they're good. He let the game flow and wasn't giving fouls for every challenge. I think the Sarr decision was right too. He did well in my view. The Sarr decision was right, but I thought he was absolute dog shit. There was a few times where, I mean, Bellegarde, they were breaking and he grabbed him round the waist and pulled him down and he said, play on. He didn't even give an advantage. He just said, like, no foul. And then in the second half, they knocked the ball past Dawson, and Dawson like bats it away with his hand, and he says, "Play on."
That was the
Sarabia chance. That was a red.
That was a red card. Deliberate. That was
a red.
ball.
And then was that
letting the game flow?
Was that the one that led to Sarabia's clear-cut chance as well?
Yeah,
it was. I said they're going to disallow. If he scores, I'll disallow that.
I've not seen it back, but I thought the Gedge booking for the dive looked harsh. But I've not seen it back, so I can't.
I haven't seen it back. It was right in front of me.
It looked harsh to me.
No, he did catch him. He did.
That's what I mean.
Catch him,
so
it's not a die. I don't think
the worst thing is with that.
I
hate when referees do that. He knows. Maybe it's not a foul, but just because it's not a foul doesn't mean it's a booking and a dive. So
and he blew the whistle and he waited like 10 seconds, almost at Bill to Spencer's go.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
You know when they blow the whistle and you're like, what's he gonna give? And then he points the other way. Oh, fuck off,
I think sometimes the refs want to get like on either side of playing on all the time or pulling up for absolutely everything. They can't seem to find a balance on anything. So I think I was listening to the interview with Glasner after the game. It's quite good actually. We was talking about how he felt the referee did, and he did say what he'd done with the game was. He'd let play flow the whole way through the game, which is whatever. That's how you're going to ref the game, fine. But then and this is the one thing I agree with, the Sarr potential kind of the goal at the end for Mateta, is he's let the play go for the whole game. And then for that incident at the end, just the right thing to do is just let play continue.
And get VAR to check.
Obviously, it's benefited us. Let play continue and then let VAR pick it up. That's what it's there for. But he's obviously blown for it, and then the whole argument is it above the threshold to review, which it wouldn't have been. So if I was a Palace fan, we moan about VAR all the time, and rightly so. But we've absolutely got away with one there in terms of, I think the law is clear, but obviously the view would be that the referee should have allowed play to play on and then review it. So who knows what would have happened, but. I don't think he had a bad game, if I'm honest with you, but the bar is quite low at the moment for referees.
Joe, can you clarify very quick, because there's probably still people listening that are unsure on their, like, by the letter of the law, it's not a goal, right? Because he has two hands on the ball.
By the letter of the law, it's not even two hands. If the ball's on the floor and he's got one hand on top of it, he's deemed as being in control of the ball, which Joe Hart cleared up quite well on Match of the Day, actually. So, but by the letter of the law, there's multiple opportunities. At one point, he's got it in both hands, and at another point, he's got his hand on top.
Well, Munoz is fucking goes into him.
The argument for me is, I'm not sure.
He never felt like he was in control, so I just felt like he was always going to spin it. I had the misfortune of listening
to TalkSport this morning, and they were talking about it, and Ali McCoy's statement was, Sarr's knee actually comes up and takes the ball out of his own hand, but obviously he's under pressure from Munoz. So I still think, regardless of the law, we've got away with one.
Yeah.
Well, you can say that, but if it's illegal, it's illegal. But for me, it's very soft. That's where like the technicalities of a rule, like sometimes common sense should prevail.
But that's where VAR would probably still would have disallowed the goal. Yeah. But as a referee, just fucking let it play on.
In real time, I don't think Anthony Taylor would have. I think Anthony Taylor would have given it for a foul rather than. I bet Anthony Taylor didn't think in the back of his head, he's got a hand on it there or two hands on it. I don't know.
No. How many times have we seen Anthony Taylor do anything competent? It's not very frequent, is it?
It just brings up when we had a game in COVID, didn't we? When he was there, you could hear Cody, "Fuck off, Tony."
Fuck off, Ant. Yeah. TW has asked. I have to ask, despite its ridiculous nature, because there were multiple people that mentioned it to me. Rumours of a return for Ruben Neves from Saudi. Assuming there's absolutely nothing in it.
No, he is. There is. The rumour is that it's not even a rumour. He's coming to watch the game next Saturday. He ain't fucking joining us.
Yeah.
But apparently he's coming for the
Southampton.
Yeah.
He's got another year left on his deal in Saudi, hasn't he? He'll be 28 then. I think if he's going to leave Saudi, that's his chance to go and play
He's got to stay there for 3 years to save the tax, hasn't he? So he ain't coming back anywhere anytime soon.
Championship remontada, who says no?
So
Ruben.
Ruben Neville.
I'll be surprised if that happens. Dave, you should be able to provide a bit more insight onto this. FCT Louis, what is it Sky Bet fan debate have against Talking Wolves? Why don't they have and level you guys on it?
Well, ultimately, if you watch the overlap, you know it's either the top 6 or people that are doing shit, and that's why Wolves have always been middle of the pack and never been of interest. Then we were meant to be on the last one, but then Ten Hag got sacked, so they were like, "Yeah, it's just going to be about Ten Hag, so there's no point you coming on." So hopefully in the future we'll be on, but probably they said to me, "I really hope Gary O'Neill doesn't get sacked because it'll be a really good talking point." And I think it's probably going to be too late, lads, to be honest. So. Be interesting, but hopefully soon one of us will be on it anyway.
Out of the candidates who have been touted with the job, who is your individual preference for the next manager? Because I said about the vaccine for one win in 19 being David Moyes, and people going, Moyes, he's worse than bloody O'Neill.
I saw people saying that.
We should be going for Zidane.
What is this snobbery around David Moyes and thinking we're better than David Moyes?
He's ginger
at Wolves. I don't get it. Like he's done a great job. He's done a great job, and again, the United job is the only real blip in his.
Yeah, but his win percentage was still better than most recent United, man.
Better than Ten Hag, better than Van Gaal as well, I think. But it's like he won the European trophy with West Ham. Back-to-back 7th finishes. They'd even done well the year before in the Europa League after and he's solid. He sets the team up.
Brought him back.
He sacked him. Brought Lopetegui.
They always batter us
to play more expansive football. Never going to happen. What is this snobbery around it? And I put Simmer out, Matt, and someone put loads of laughing faces. David Moyes. I'm like, who the fuck do you think we're going to get? He's like, Content say. Do you think he's going to come here?
I don't even.
Potter.
Huh?
Let's be come on. They come into Wolves right now.
State of Snake.
Is right. If we lose a few more games, like I say, who's going to want to come here to risk their reputation? There is only one person that will be coming.
Manager of the year contender, Rob Edwards.
Because he can get sacked from Luton.
How many is he? What is he? One winning 40 odd.
I don't know what he is.
I'm not overly convinced by Conceição anyway. I've said it before. I have no doubt he's a good manager, but one, is he going to come here? But two, he's just fucking been used to winning titles in a league where you should be winning 95% of your games anyway. Is he going to be a manager to get you out of relegation scrap?
Tell you it would be a shout for me.
Oh God!
And I think it's risky given where we are, which is why I'd go with Moyes. But I do think someone like Ruben Nistelrooy now is going to be.
I mentioned that, to be fair. I did mention
lined up for a job. To be fair, he's got more of a CV than fucking Gary O'Neill did when he took over.
Yeah. I know.
And he got joy out of Fabio Silva. Bring him home.
Xavi Simmons. For me, I've said this before. It'd be Conceição if we had the opportunity to get him, which I don't think we do. I think you're right.
No,
but then it's got to be Moyes really to be looking to stay in the league. We've got to go the safe route, haven't we? Which to a degree, that's what Lopetegui was.
If you leave it a couple more, let's hypothetically say we leave it six games, which I don't think we can, and we're 9-10 points adrift. Does it then get to a point where you think, actually, we want to bring someone in because you're almost resigned to relegation anyway? Someone that you're happy to sort of just give them 6 months, build a team because you know you're going to have to come back up. And if then that becomes a thing, we're probably looking at, I don't even know. That's the thing. Like, who do you go for?
Jimmy Fallon
would. Yeah, that's the thing though. Like,
they hate him as well. Like the Albion fans say, he's fucking.
That'd be so good, that would.
But do you go for someone like Fellin at Aberdeen or
that
the guy at
Fellin screams to me, if you go down and you sack your manager, Fellin's someone that will rebuild you in the Championship. You never ever go for him now in the position that you're in. It's like it just screams fucking Ian Beale, Michael Beale to coming in, you know. Not that, you know, he's lost his way completely now, but you know.
Like I'm saying though, if Fosen leave it and Hobbs and Shea leave it another 6 weeks, then realistically that's probably what we've got to do. Because
there is a window.
There is a window now. Getting Moyes part of at least having a conversation with them. Now, if you lose another 3 or 4 out of the next 6, they're not going to come. Why would they come?
But ultimately, Go on, Joe.
with Potter, sorry, Dave, isn't there the potential that he gets his compensation from Chelsea until he gets a new job, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So why the fuck would you risk all that money to go and take over at Wolves and lose out on what's probably at least another couple of years worth of compo?
Yeah. Ultimately, and you've said it as well, Matt, before, like, if you're getting in charge of managers such as those with that reputation, ultimately folks are going to say, right, here's 150 million to spend in January. Fair enough. But then in 12 months' time, you've fucking got the whole PSR cycle again. And like, as fans, it's just going to feel like an endless cycle of going nowhere, really.
If you think just sacking a manager and getting someone who's going to fix things, it's not. The whole club needs gutting from top to bottom. It needs a complete structural rejig. And there needs to be some proper leadership in there.
Including the bar staff in the South Bank, by the way.
Including the bar staff in the North Bank as well. Look, Moyes, when he was at West Ham, he took over in 2017 and they were in the relegation zone. He finished 13th with them. And then when he returned, I think they finished 6th. They got to then Europa League semi-final, finished 7th. Yeah. Finished 7th again. Won the Conference League. Won the Conference League. How can you? He's the third most experienced manager the Premier League's ever seen. How can you turn your nose up at that? The style of football might be crap, yes, but at least you might win a few games.
Yeah, but it's not going to be any worse. It's not going to be any worse than
I don't care
pragmatic football. We were pragmatic under Lopetegui. We were pragmatic under Nuno. And everyone, so what's the problem? Say if you're winning football games, no one cares how you play.
I think how well Nuno's doing doesn't help anyone's case at Wolves either. Because every time I go on Twitter, it's like, just bringing up Nuno again.
Do you think that when we're saying, well, he won the Conference League, do you reckon people are saying that, but God, do you remember that game against, bloody, how bad were they, that game? Like, on that run, they played some awful. Who cares? He won something.
Yeah.
Villa was shit yesterday, but they're not saying, Emery's wank or whatever. They were really bad yesterday. Like, you are going to have blips. It's football. You're going to lose football games. But if you can get a winning mentality and culture at a football club, that means loads.
It's over a period of time, and you can't look at individual games. So you can't even look at individual seasons.
A lot of fans on Cloud Cuckoo land, though, when they think they could go and get, like, before he got the England job, people saying he's Tuchel out of reach. What? What?
Talking of England, I think Southgate is at the end of the pod now. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
No, I think it's time to call it a day there. It's been over an hour. We've just whined. My blood pressure's through the roof. I
think it's been a good discussion. All jokes aside, we've spoke about the game and individuals for a good 45 minutes, and it was good discussion.
I'm away Wednesday. I'm going to see Feyenoord play. I'm going to see Bueno. So my mate's been gifted a couple of hospitality tickets for the Champions League through work.
Who they got?
So we're flying to Amsterdam Wednesday and getting the train down to Rotterdam. So hopefully we'll be able to see him play and watch him score an hat-trick.
Who they got, Matt?
Even more.
Who they playing?
I've got Salzburg.
That'd be a good game, actually.
Yeah.
You're visiting the people in the Netherlands, Matt?
Yeah, I am. I'm making sure I don't call them people from Holland. I don't want to.
Of course. You
don't want to upset the apple cart.
Talk about international football, European football. I'm going to watch Copenhagen on Thursday as well.
Oh, nice.
Istanbul Başakşehir in the Conference League. So yeah.
We need talking more vlogs. YouTube vlog you put, Hugo Bueno watch, Matt.
I don't think I'll be able to
get it on the channel. Watch out for them blue lights, son.
I'm going to see Hertha Berlin play at the end of November as well.
When? When's all this happening?
End of November. The dates.
When you going with Joe?
No, because you said you couldn't go.
Wasn't me.
I said.
Wasn't me. We discussed as a 3-day, me, Matt, and Aid going. Aid was unavailable, then Matt threw his toys out of his pram and refused to travel. and then he did a Dennis Bergkamp refused to travel away with me.
Dave Jones chose on him as well.
So I thought, that dead. We'll go next year.
January for me. I might fancy something in January. Kill the Blues.
I'm going in November to see. We're going to Berlin for a few days. So
that'd be nice.
Yeah, it should be nice. I'll let you know. We'll get on. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Hugo play. I haven't dropped him a message like Dave does with Fabio. Just let him know I'm thinking about him.
He's done well, hasn't he? He's got a few assists the last few weeks as well.
Yeah,
Fabio.
His manager said he's
not Fabio.
Weapon in the final third, hasn't he? So we shall see. But no, it should be good. I can't say I've enjoyed this podcast, but we've managed to get 1 minute 10 out of it. So, Dave,
1 minute 10.
1 minute 10. An hour and 10.
Feels like it.
Dave, where can people find you? Should they wish to follow you, mate?
At Dave as a party on all the socials.
Jord, where can people channel their anger at David Moyes' potential appointment?
At Jord7 on Instagram and Twitter. And yeah, if anyone could come up with a better suggestion than David Moyes, I would love to hear it. And realistic, obviously. So there we go.
And Joe, where can people find Richard Keogh impersonators from?
Don't know where you'll find them, but you'll find me at Concept Skating.
Nah, it was Harry Kane for a while, wasn't it? But I don't think I think you've changed a little bit.
Got old, mate.
Yeah,
got old and
well old.
cut my hair short. It's all the bullying from you.
It's you need it shorter,
What's
Joe?
the reason for the cap now? What's the reason for the cap? The last I've not seen you wear a cap for a while. Have you been to? You've been off to Turkey, have you?
No, still got hair, mate. Still there.
Hanging in there. Fair play.
I can't hear. I took my headphones off. Probably a
Had
good
it
job.
from the
What did you
bar,
say?
now we're here.
Nothing, mate. Nothing.
Wonderful. I'm actually not going to the game on Saturday either, so thankful of that. Going to see some proper football this week.
Plastic.
But yeah, hopefully I say hopefully we get 3 points. If it means he carries on the job, I'm not too sure. But no, Jess, hopefully it can be a turning point for Wolves. I very much doubt it. But yeah, it could be a horrible afternoon at Molineux on Saturday come 5 o'clock. But until next time, try not to think about the football. Enjoy your week and take care of the Wolves.